The following contest scheduled for one fall.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to One Fall Friday. The Mae Young Classic is underway as we speak. They released all 4 episodes of the first rounds all at once. So I've been binge watching this tournament. Actually, I watched them all yesterday. I put it off, and I finally watched all of the first round matches yesterday. I have all of the results here, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. So let's get to it. First match we're going to talk about is Princess Suhei versus Kaylee Ray. These two are from different parts of the world. One represents Mexico, the other one was Ireland, I believe, maybe Scottish. I can't exactly remember. Don't quote me on that. I apologize for not remembering, but really, the only thing you could take from this is that there were a lot of hard hits from both competitors. It was a really, really good first match for this tournament. A great way to start it off. I was kind of expecting a little bit more high-flying moves from Princesa Suhei. I said Princess Suhei. It's Princesa Suhei. But yeah, since she's got that lucha background, I was kind of looking for a little bit more of a high-risk, fast-moving offense from her. Didn't really see a whole lot of that, but that's okay. She's probably holding back for later on in the tournament. Kaylee Ray had one move. I think it was like a snap neck breaker. Looked like it could have been a little bit better, but other than that, she really, really did, I think, a great job. She had one move towards the end that I'd never really seen before, but there was a near fall. Princess Suhei ended up with the win with a Kimura lock. They called it something else, but that's pretty much what it was. She put her in a Kimura lock and she tapped out. That was it. Next up was Serena Deeb versus Vanessa Bourne. Vanessa was a striker. Primarily, she had good looking headbutts. They both really grabbed my attention. Vanessa was selling her ass off in this match. Serena looked really, really good. Serena has great technique. Serena ended up picking up the win with a spear, but Vanessa has a lot of potential and a lot of talent. From what little we did see from her, I would say that WWE is probably willing to make her an offer to get her into NXT. So, yeah, Serena, big spear, big finish. She moves on to the next round. Next up was Shayna Baszler versus Zeta. Two women with a lot of MMA backgrounds. Shayna Baszler, she had full MMA support in the crowd with her. She had Ronda Rousey and 2 other MMA friends of theirs. I think they go by the 4 horsewomen of the UFC or something like that. It's painfully clear at this point that, yeah, they probably definitely want Shayna in, but I'd say that Ronda Rousey definitely has a future somewhere in WWE, and they're trying to get attention of some of these other women athletes with MMA backgrounds to see if maybe they can make the transition to professional wrestling. This particular match was, there really wasn't a whole lot to it. There was a lot of mat-based wrestling, a lot of submission attempts. You could expect to see that. They were wrestling their style. It made sense. But it was a quick finish with Shayna. She got a rear naked choke and Zeta tapped out, so Shayna moves on. Next up was Abby Lath versus Jazzy Gabbert. You'll have to excuse me for this episode. There was a lot of matches, and a lot of these women I'd never seen wrestle before, so I've got notes here in front of me that I'm reading off of in order to properly break these matches down and give you the best report possible. Anyway, like I was saying, Abby Lath, Jazzy Gabbert. Jazzy got the fans' support right away. She's a big woman. She's from Germany. Abby Lath, she's not a small woman herself, and she was coming in firing hits, but she would just shove her off and she would flex and yell, and the crowd really, really got behind her. Abby Lath has a ballerina background, and her footwork and her moves, she looked really, really good. She really caught my attention. She had a lot of innovative offensive moves, some things that you've never really seen before, but also some classic moves with her own little twist on them. Big hits from Jazzy, like I said. Abby's kicks look good, but they need a little bit of work. I mean, she needs to really try to, I think, snap them in a little bit faster. Maybe try to make them look a little more convincing. But I mean, her technique was there. The delivery was good. It needed to be a little bit more convincing, I think. But she did end up with a win with a surprise roll-up, 1, 2, 3. Abby Lathe advances to the next round. Next match was Mercedes Martinez, I'll get it out eventually, versus Xia Li. This was a really good match. They had a great opening exchange between the two. They both showed excellent technique. Their moves looked good. Mercedes ended up picking up the win with a submission move. Mercedes is, from what they say, one of the favorites in this tournament. She's definitely a powerhouse. She's there. She's got the build and the presence. I mean, she looked really, really good. I was really hoping that Xia Li would have done a little bit better. Her Chinese background and style looked really, really, fluid movements. She looked great. She looked phenomenal. I hope this wasn't the last that we've seen of Xia Li, but we'll have to see how far Mercedes can go in this tournament. Next up was Marty Bell versus Rachel Evers. Rachel Evers has a lot of attention on her because she's Paul Ellering's daughter. I'm not sure how long she's been in the business. I think she's still fairly new. I don't think she's been wrestling that long. She looked a little rough around the edges, but there's definitely potential there. Marty, she played a great old school style heel. Between communicating with the ref and, interactions with the crowd, mind games with her opponent, I hope that she gets some kind of deal. I understand they're giving Rachel Evers her shot because, I'm not saying the reason they're doing it is because she's Paul Ellering's daughter, but it does have to have a lot to do with it. She did advance into the next round, and maybe she just had butterflies, Maybe she just got nervous in the ring, and that's why, things didn't look that good. We'll have to wait and see in her next match just what she can bring to the table. Next, we have Rhea Ripley versus Miranda Salinas. Rhea is from the land down under. She's got great drop kicks. She's a big woman. I think she played soccer before she started professional wrestling, and you can tell she's definitely got the soccer body. But because of that, her kicks looked really, really good. They were on point. She won with a full Nelson slam and then got the finish after that. Miranda was incredibly, really, really selling her ass off. I believed the story that they told in this match. She had great kicks too. And Rhea Ripley, she got my attention. I would say that she has a good shot at winning this tournament. Next up was Sarah Logan versus Mae Young. Sarah Logan is already in NXT. She didn't really have a whole lot of TV time, and so I never really got a chance to see what she could do in the ring. But her and Maya, I'm sorry if I'm messing these names up. I don't really mean to. I've watched this tournament once, and so trying to remember the exact way, with some of these names, the way they're supposed to be said, because like this, M-I-A, you could say that Maya or Mia, and I can't really remember. I'm pretty sure it's Mia, but don't quote me on that. Anyway, they had one hell of a match. They both were laying in their hits. They looked good. They might have been a little snug, but that just made it that much better. Maya has a Taekwondo background, so that's where her good kicks look good. This was definitely one of the best matches that was in the first round. They both sold their asses off, and Maya ended up winning with Eat the Feet as her finishing move. I've only seen two people use this move, Gail Kim and now Enzo Amore, whenever he had his first cruiserweight match against Noam Dar. He used that as a finisher, and it looked good coming from Enzo, and it looked good coming from Maya, or Mia, too. I'm never going to know how to pronounce her name. I'm going to be changing it the entire time, so get used to it. Next up was Aisha Raymond versus Toni Storm. two rookies that got into this tournament. They didn't really do anything big or flashy. They just worked the basics, and the basics looked top notch. They definitely have this down. Maybe they've got more to bring, and they were just holding back, you know, to add some extra excitement, I should say, excitement into the later round. But like I said, they just worked the basics. Their basics look great. Toni wins with a roll-up, and she had a lot of personality, and they both looked good. But Toni's advancing into the next round. And next we have Dakota Kai versus Kavita Devi. Kavita, her presence was absolutely phenomenal. She was a big woman. She's from India. I think she's at least 6 foot tall. I mean, she's a big woman. She's got these huge, massive forearms. She's definitely done a lot of powerlifting, and she used that to her advantage. She wrestled her style, the big, strong, dominant female. Very, very slow. A lot of, you know, torturing the body, a lot of arm work, and just sheer punishment. She looked really, really good. I hope they're not done with her. Dakota Kai looked absolutely great too. She was selling everything that Kavita would throw at her. There was a big finish for Dakota because she was pretty much the underdog in this match. So we didn't really see a whole lot from her, but that's just, I think they really wanted to drive across the underdog story in this match, that Kavita was the big dominant female and Dakota was the smaller one, but she was just as good and wily, I guess you could say, in order to steal the win and advance into the next round. Okay, next was Sage Beckett versus Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair, she had a match to get into the tournament on NXT, and that was I already saw this match before. I mean, I saw her have that match before I saw this match, so I kind of had a good idea what to expect from her. When she had that first match, she did a few moves, didn't really show off a whole lot, but I could tell right away that even though that she is a rookie, she's got the character down. She carries herself well. She's got the swagger. She's got the attitude. She definitely has the body for this. You could tell that she works out and works her ass off all the time. For this particular match, Sage was the powerhouse in this, but she also had equal competition in Bianca. Like I said, she's got the build for this. She works out. She looks dominant. She was very, very impressive. They put on a great match. Both ladies sold really, really well. Whatever punishment that either was dishing out, they sold it properly. It was believable. Bianca ended up winning she's got a super long braid that comes down like past her waist, and when she comes out, she's like swinging it like a rope. That's where part of that character and like persona, the swagger that I was talking about, comes from. That looked really, really, really good. But her finisher was, she takes the end of her braid and she whips it across her opponent's chest, and then she comes in with a heavy spear and gets the 3. Next up was Piper Niven versus Santana Garrett. I put in my notes that these two put on a clinic, and that's exactly what they did. Piper Niven is a rather larger female in this tournament, but she moves just as fast, if not faster, than a lot of the other wrestlers that I saw in this tournament so far. She's doing like diving cross bodies and all kinds of fast-paced moves for such a larger woman, and she hits just as hard. You know, she wrestles that style, but she'll throw a curveball at you by doing these fast-paced, you know, high-flying moves. Just something that you didn't really expect to see. It's kind of like a female Kevin Owens, I guess you could call her. Piper also incorporated a lot of submissions into her arsenal. She had a lot of hard hits, and she ended up taking the win from Santana Garrett with a Michinoku driver. Santana Garrett, she really grabbed my attention, and I thought Piper Niven was going to be good, and she ended up getting my attention more than Santana did. I can't wait to see how far she goes in this tournament. Hopefully she'll make it at least to the semifinals. Next up was Candice LeRae versus Renee Michelle. Candice looked really, really good. She's very, very technically sound. Renee was another individual with a lot of innovative offense moves, some things you've never really seen before. She has potential, but she definitely needs some polishing. Her moves look good, but they were a little rough around the edges, just needs a little polishing up, like I said. Candice ended up winning with second rope swinging neck breaker, looked very, very good. Next up we have Taynara Conti versus Lacey Evans, another group of rookies whom I think looked like they've already been wrestling for about 3 or 4 years. There's a good handful of rookies that were in this tournament that you would never believe that they were rookies. It's like, really? You're a rookie? How long have you been doing this? You look like you're a veteran. Jeez. Both of these women looked really, really, really good. Taynara was come from a judo background, so she had a lot of throws and suplexes. They looked phenomenal. Lacey Evans, she ended up winning with a pinning combination that I didn't really have ever seen before. I don't know what you would call it, but it looked really, really good. Was Lacey the one? Yeah, I think Lacey Evans was the one. She used to be in the Marines, so she definitely had this kind of 40s and 50s throwback to the Marines back then. She kind of, what was the name? Like the lady, God, I can't think of what she was called, but it was like the woman that would like had the big arms and she would flex, and she was like a poster figure for back in the war times. I feel terrible because I can't remember what her name was, but anyway, that's what she reminded me of. She looked good. She ended up with the win. Can't wait to see what she's gonna do. Next up, we have Nicole Savoy versus Reina Gonzalez. Both of these women got my attention. Reina was a hard hitter. Reminded me a lot of JBL, like a female JBL in the ring. She also sold very, very well. A lot of good selling from these women. Nicole, she's a great technician. She can adapt her style to any of her opponent's styles to really, really, I mean, like, she was going up against somebody bigger than her, so she changed what she was doing in order to adapt to make the match more believable. And she ended up winning with a cross arm breaker that came out of nowhere. So good on Nicole. She advances to the next round. And last but certainly not least, we have Kairi Sane versus Tessa Blanchard. These two are the biggest names that I heard in this tournament, and they went up. And it's like, it's so weird. Let's pick Kairi Sane and Tessa Blanchard, the two women that have the most heat going into this tournament, and we're going to put them up against each other in the first round. To me, this could have been the finals. This right here, Kairi Sane, Tessa Blanchard, this could have been your final match of the tournament, and it would have been just as good. But, you know, I guess they really wanted Kairi Sane to be put over because she ended up winning. Everything they did was just so good. Tessa's got moves for days. Kairi, she's got that Japanese style down. My God, they just had an incredible match. Kairi finished the match with an elbow drop off the top. She looked like she was floating while she was mid-air in this elbow drop. And as soon as the ref counted 3, both her and Tessa were in tears because they knew that they absolutely tore the house down. But Kairi ends up advancing, and Tessa unfortunately has to go home. And with that, that is all of the first round matchups of the Mae Young Classic. A lot of the second rounds that are going to be starting, well, they've already been filmed and they're not going to be starting, but I think they're not getting released until this coming Monday. So I think Kairi Sane is going to be going up against Bianca Belair. That right there is going to be a very interesting match. I can't wait to watch that match. This tournament has definitely lived up to my expectations. I solely devoted and invested into these women. I didn't want to see every single one of these matches that I watched. I didn't want anybody to lose, but there always has to be a winner and there has to be a loser, and it's a single elimination tournament, and you know, whoever doesn't win is out. And I mean, that doesn't mean that they're not going to have any kind of negotiations for a deal when this tournament is all said and done, but you just hate to see one walk away because everybody that is in this tournament deserves to be in this tournament, and everybody deserves to win, in my opinion. They said that they found 32 of the best women wrestlers in the world, and they certainly did that. This I like every tournament that they've done on the WWE Network has been a huge success, and I really didn't think that this was going to be any exception. And it's definitely raising the bar in women's wrestling, and I think that the main roster women that we have right now can learn a lot from this tournament. I hope they do learn a lot from this tournament, and I'm really, really anxious to see the finish. I don't know who is going to end up in the finals. I would say Kairi Sane is definitely a favorite. I would say Bianca Belair maybe even has a chance. I know they're getting ready to go up against each other. I just talked about it. One of them's not going to make it, but I'm pretty sure that Kairi is at least going to make it to the semifinals of the tournament. And, oh gosh, I don't know. I think it would be between her and maybe Mercedes Martinez, because a lot of people are talking about her, and she definitely impressed me. A lot of these women impressed me. It's just, I don't want to pick one. I want everybody to win. Like I said, I'm invested, but only one can win, and only time will tell. So next week, on next week's vlog, we're going to be going over the second round matches. It won't take nearly as long because, I mean, this was 16 matches in one episode, so we're going to have that cut in half. I think it's going to be 8 matches next. And we'll go over that, and we'll touch base a little bit on what's going on Raw and SmackDown. Really, the only thing that happened this week was Roman Reigns and John Cena had a big promo and contract signing for their match that's coming up. And it turned into maybe a little bit of a shoot, but I think they probably planned it that way between the two. It got people's attention. It was supposed to get people's attention. It was supposed to hype up this match. You know, I don't really think it needed to be hyped up anyway, but just the more you get people invested in it, the more they're going to want to watch it. You know, I'd say people are probably going to be more behind Cena than they will be Roman at this point, because people respect John Cena more than Roman Reigns. But anyway, that's a story for another time. But for now, thank you guys very much for watching this episode. I'll be back later with another video. I hope to see you there. My name is Dave, and I am the One Man Rave. See ya!